In today's video, we will be looking at Samori Touré, the African Napoleon who single-handedly fought and defeated the French Empire. He was a warrior, an emperor, an intellectual, a politician, and he is one of the most successful military leaders in history. So let's get right into it. Samori Touré was born in 1862 to a small village called Kouroussa. His father was a farmer and an Islamic preacher, and his mother was a village herbalist. So from early on, Samori had knowledge of traditional medicine, and he even learned how to read and write in Arabic. Even though he was born into a poor family, he received a great education, and when he grew up, he became like a teacher himself, teaching other children how to read and write. But he didn't teach them in Arabic, rather in French, because by that time, his village had already been taken over by the French colonial empire. So when Samori was just 14 years old, he opened a school where he taught children how to read and write in French, and he also taught them useful trades like carpentry. All this while, he was learning the art of war from Almami, the king of the neighboring state of Ségou. When the French began taxing the villagers for educational services, Samori closed down his school and started preaching Islam. However, since he was critical of the French and their oppressive policies, they put him in jail several times. When he was released from prison, he went to live with the ruler of the Wassoulou Empire, who was his maternal uncle. By that time, the Wassoulou had already been fighting the French for years, trying to regain independence, and Samori joined the military wing of the empire. While serving under his uncle, Samori showed great leadership skills and was promoted to the rank of major. But unfortunately, Samori's uncle died, and so Samori took over as the military leader of the Wassoulou Empire. At first, the Wassoulou army wasn't taking any prisoners when they raided villages. But Samori believed that if they wanted to win the war, they needed to gain supporters, not enemies. So he ordered his men to stop killing the villagers and instead take them prisoner. Then he would allow them to go free if they agreed to join the Wassoulou army. So by doing this, Samori quickly expanded the size of the Wassoulou army from 3,000 men to 1,000 men. After doing this, Samori decided to invade the neighboring state of Ségou, which had allied itself with the French. He divided his army into two halves. One half was led by his brother, and Samori led the other half himself. While his brother attacked from the front, Samori snuck into Ségou's capital city, attacked the French forces there, and chased them out of town. After defeating the Ségou army, Samori made Ségou part of the Wassoulou Empire. Now that he had more land and more soldiers, he became more confident in his ability to defeat the French. In fact, in one battle, when Samori's horse was shot out from under him, he grabbed a new horse and rode it into battle, even though it wasn't trained for riding. And sure enough, he tamed the wild animal by the end of the battle. That's why people call him the African Napoleon. But anyways, after beating the French in several battles, Samori finally felt ready to declare war on the French directly. Before he did so, though, he visited the British and German consuls in an attempt to get their support against the French. Unfortunately, he was denied, which meant he had to do it all on his own. On September 1881, he sent letters to every village in his empire calling for a jihad against the French, and soon after, he invaded the French colony of Kourou. The next day, he met up with the French troops there and defeated them. Samori's army then went on to conquer many more French territories in the region. But even though he was winning battles left and right, Samori knew that he couldn't defeat the French without conquering their main base of operations, which was in the city of Bamako. So he kept marching on Bamako, defeating the French forces there. In fact, he defeated the same French general, Louis Gustave, 4 times. But even though he beat this man so many times, he never captured him. Samori believed that as a Muslim, he wasn't allowed to kill fellow Muslims, even if they were on the other side of the battlefield. Anyways, after defeating the French yet again, Samori decided to lay siege to Bamako. The French garrison in Bamako tried to escape, but they were blocked by Samori's men. They tried again a few days later, but once again, they were repelled. A few weeks later, the French surrendered. With this victory, Samori controlled all of the lands between the Niger River and the Senegal River. This area was roughly the size of modern-day Mali and Senegal combined. And even though the French lost this war, they refused to leave West Africa. Instead, they regrouped and prepared for another offensive. This time, though, things didn't go too well for Samurai. The French commander, Jean Batu, was able to defeat Samurai in battle and even destroyed some of Samurai's villages in retaliation for the destruction of French villages. But Samurai didn't back down. He continued to lead his people in armed resistance against the French. In fact, he led a force of 30,000 men against the French, who only had about 1,000 troops. But even with such a massive advantage in numbers, Samori was defeated. The French had superior firepower, and so they were able to mow down Samori's men. After losing this battle, Samori realized that he couldn't defeat the French head-on, so he resorted to guerrilla tactics. Unfortunately, this didn't work either, because the French used poison to kill Samori's men. The French had poisoned water sources that Samori's men would drink from, and hundreds of Samori's troops ended up dying. Eventually, Samurai himself got sick, and he died on June 2nd, 1895. But even though he lost against the French, I believe he would be happy knowing that his efforts paved the way for future generations of Africans to win their independence. Speaking of future generations, an entire generation of Africans was born during Samurai's lifetime. The generation of the youth who won Algeria's independence from the Dutch. And you can learn about their incredible journey by clicking here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this on our YouTube channel, Afro Rise TV.